Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight was the season finale, the part 2 of the 2 parts of the Bachelorette. Wow, I know I've fallen off on reviews, but I was kind of just trying to catch up with it. It's a lot of episodes. It's a lot, like 2 hours. Those are long ass episodes, but there's obviously a lot of content that they had to go through just to be able to air it. People left, people came back and left. So let me just kind of go through what happened in the long 2 hours. It just ended, like I said, and it was like the whole, like, is she gonna pick anybody? Is she gonna get engaged? Is she gonna pick nobody? Is she gonna pick herself? Like, there's just like a lot of speculation on like her just not picking anyone, just picking herself and just being single. That's what happened. Sorry, I said single. But it starts where the episode last ended. Ben is sitting in Tayshia's room, kind of unsure about like what's gonna happen. Is she gonna pick him or not? Because that's kind of what happened with Bennett. And when like he came back, she let him come to the rose ceremony, and after like talking to him and making out with Ben, she told him to come to the rose ceremony. And I'm like, oop, this is going to be a slap in the face to not only Zach, but Ivan. So we're going to see how this plays out. When they go to the rose ceremony, you see the 2 roses, and I really had like no hunch or no indication of who she's going to pick. I was like, this is just going to go all over the place. I'm not sure what's going to happen. And then she put Ivan to the side to talk to him. And like, I just don't know what would have been the point to pull him to the side if it wasn't a good conversation, if that makes sense. So I was like, this is over for Ivan. This is really wild because people were really rooting for him. And obviously everyone has their teams or the people they were rooting for. So maybe other people as well. But Ivan was a really genuine sweetheart is what it seems like on the TV show. So everyone was just really hopeful for him. He seemed wholesome, things like that. So when she pulled him to the side, the conversation got very somber and like, oh, this is getting real. She's potentially sending him home. She's not giving him a rose. Like, what's going to happen? And eventually, I don't even know exactly what happened. According to Twitter, they're saying that she said that the religions didn't line up. I didn't really hear that part. It just seemed like an excuse or just like a, sorry, it's not happening. I'm like, I guess when you know, and when you know it's not it, you also know as well. So she just knew that it wasn't him somehow, like at that moment, which is kind of interesting because it took Ben coming in and Brendan removing himself in the previous episode for her to decide that Ivan wasn't it. I don't know. I think she could have waited till like the next moment to decide. Again, I haven't really seen Bachelorette before this, so I'm like, this is kind of weird to me. I think she could have kept Ivan, but she dropped him at that point and obviously gave the 2 roses to Zach and Ben in that order. Anyways, we see her family. It's her parents and her siblings, aside from her sister, according to Instagram, was all there to meet her, like the 2 guys and kind of just feel them out. Based off like just the TV and maybe producing and producers and stuff, it seemed like her parents had a bigger, strong inkling towards Ivan. No, sorry. I kind of had a stringer. Let's see. This thing, they went home. Anyways, we see. She explains that she sent Ben home, which kind of is like that's interesting that you sent him home just for him to come back. So that's kind of like weird. So like, why would he come back? And her dad mentioned like that says something about his character. Like if you kind of told him to leave, he came back, like what would happen if like you broke up with him and then he just came back again, like in the real world, or just something kind of weird. So it is kind of like, this is kind of weird. Don't really know where it's going to go. But her family seemed to have like a stronger liking towards Zach, again, just based off how the TV show portrayed it. So don't really know what that means, because, you know, your family means, don't really know what that means because families' intuition and just like their thoughts go a long way, especially because Tayshia seems like a family-oriented person. So I feel like she'll take whatever they say later on and just in general to heart and like make her decisions based off of that, aside from love. While Tayshia's in her suite, we hear a knock on the door, and it's very triggering because one time the knock on the door was Bennett coming back. Second time was obviously Ben coming back, and now we're like, who else is here? What is happening? It's the finale. We don't need this much craziness. Let's just tone it down. We only have like an hour or so left. It was her dad. And even that was kind of like, what's going on? Because she kind of was like, he came in with like a certain demeanor. I don't really know like what he's going to come talk about. Just like the way it was. Again, everything was really serious, and it's her dad. So obviously it's coming with knowledge or just coming from a place of like love and caring. So that's what it was. He was saying that he came to talk to her because he doesn't want her to go down the wrong path and make a bad decision because she's been there before, hence her previous marriage. And in her little voiceover, she was mentioning when she was going through her divorce, her dad was like right there and kind of consoled her, which is really good, you know, really close family. And yeah, they just don't want her to really go down the wrong route and pick the wrong guy, or maybe just pick someone who's not there for her. And again, it does seem like from what he said that he was leaning towards Zach again. That's like from her family. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what her final decision is ultimately going to be. She next goes on a date with Zach. It's their last date. It's kind of like a dancing lesson. but she kind of seemed very like apprehensive and like hesitant about the whole situation and just maybe pursuing getting married still, or just finishing out the series like on a good note essentially. And Zach saw that. It was very obvious. She was kind of like downcast, and I think she said it in her voiceover, and she may have actually also said it verbally, like, I'm kind of just feeling down about everything right now. I'm just like kind of taking everything in. And it was clear, but it was the last date. She seems to be very clear on Zach, so we're gonna see where it's gonna go with that. Again, there's only 2 guys left, Zach and Ben. It shows Ben getting ready in his little suite, being really optimistic and happy about like what could potentially happen. He's saying he loves her, he could be married to her, he like sees that. Kids, like he's been saying that over and over ever since he's finally revealed to her that he's in love with her. So before the date even happens, Tayshia has like a little epiphany like outside or during her voiceover saying like she knows what she wants, and it's not Ben. And I was just like, oh my god, like you let him back in, sent Ivan home before him, considering he kind of crashed the rose ceremony, and now you're sending him home before you even get like the next date with him after he's already met your parents. But again, like I guess that's maybe the defining moment, being the parents and seeing how that goes and like what your family's telling you. But I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was gonna be after, but again, if you know, you know. There's no point in continuing it if her heart's not there and like making him kind of get more led on. And yeah, she said that to him and he was obviously heartbroken. The man's been saying he's gonna marry her since like the past episode or so when he got eliminated or just taken off. But like I just hope that she's actually set on Zach the way she said she is, considering that Brendan left on his own. Ben dropped the ball by not saying I love you early, so I feel like that's kind of maybe why this happened, and like her feelings were confused because again he kind of delayed his feelings. And just her making a random excuse for dropping Ivan when she did, how she did. I still feel like the Ivan thing was kind of like, were you just trying to narrow it down? Because again, it's a lot of guys. It's very overwhelming. You're supposed to make this decision, get proposed to. And I feel like it's just like, just chop off this, chop off that, not really thinking. Because she also didn't have much emotion. When Ben left, she was really sad that he didn't show emotion. She was sad, I think, about Riley. But then when she took off Ivan, she just was not crying. It didn't seem like anything, unless they cut that out, which would be kind of weird. But it just didn't seem like she was that distraught about it. We see Zach picking out the ring and Tayshia wondering out loud if it's too soon. I think she's having like her breakdown, 100th breakdown of the season, which is reasonable. She came in a late time. It was a very wild season for her, wild card stuff. But I'm like, you crying almost makes it seem like, are you sure? Are you confident? Are you like really into this? Like, again, you're getting engaged. It's just because it's TV doesn't mean you necessarily have to go along with it. But I'm just worried. I don't know if somehow Zach's just not going to show up again. I've never seen that happen, or if that does happen in history and this stuff. But I was like, oh my god, like I don't need more nervousness from this woman. And then Zach goes and proposes. I know it's kind of like a quick jump, but that's pretty much what happens. It's kind of like elongated with them saying their I love yous and her saying that like he's it for her, she's, and vice versa. And yeah, he proposes, and that's the season finale. I don't know how they would do a reunion because COVID, and most of the shows haven't done reunions. I feel like Zoom reunions are very, but I don't know if I was expecting that. Zach was someone I didn't really see during Claire's time. Brendan, all of them, we didn't learn their names until Tayshia came on and actually like, took the time to individually learn all of them. But wow, I don't know if I predicted that. A lot of people were saying they were really expecting it to be Ivan or maybe Ben, because Ben came back and she took him back. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? That was really crazy. And let me know if you want me to do a review on The Bachelor, which starts next month. But see y'all next time. Bye!